the camping and the knots and that are the tools that we use to build better citizens.
Hey there, Albion. Are you ready to discover the hidden gems of our community? I'm Cassidy Porter, your host and proud Albion resident. Join me on Brick by Brick, the podcast that celebrates the people, places, and stories that make Albion so special. Together, we'll explore the rich history of our town, from its manufacturing roots to its vibrant present. We'll chat with local leaders, volunteers, and small business owners to learn more about the incredible work they're doing to make Albion a better place. So whether you're a lifelong resident or just visiting, tune in to Brick by Brick, and let's discover the heart and soul of Albion, one story or brick at a time. Welcome back to the Brick by Brick podcast. I'm your host, Cassidy Porter, and today we're diving into the world of scouting, and specifically scouting in Albion, Michigan. I'm joined today with Sam Porter, local scout leader of Troop 158. And for those of you who don't know, Sam is also my dad. So thank you for joining me today.
Yes.
And of course, I know a decent amount of the work that you do and the passion that you put into scouting, but I'm excited to learn a little bit more of where that all stems from and what really drives you with scouting. So to get started, what is your Albion story?
Well, I grew up here in Albion. I'm a Wildcat, and I left Albion only to go to college and to start my career with Kendall Electric. We moved back here when Katie was born. So like I said, I grew up in Albion. I've been a member of Troop 158 since I was 10 years old. I was in Cub Scouts at Harrington School, Pack 182. I earned my Eagle Scout when I was 12 and a half. I am the youngest Eagle Scout in the city of Albion. And I've been in scouting for over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
you kind of dove into a little bit, but what was your experience like with scouting then, and how has it influenced your leadership style?
Well, when your grandparents came home from the service, we moved back to Albion, where they're from. We're fourth generation Albionites.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandpa is an Eagle Scout also, and was working with some local troops. So I was 4 or 5 years old. Your great aunt, my great aunt, your great great aunt, customized a Boy Scout uniform for me so I could go to camp with your grandpa, the camporees and stuff. So I've been a Boy Scout longer than I've not been a Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm.
It is a character building. It is lead by example is how I look at it. And I've done other things besides just scouting. When you girls were growing up, scouting did not have girls in it.
Mm-hmm.
That changed in 2019 when Boy Scouts changed to Scouts BSA to allow girls in the scouting program, which is the 11-year-olds to 17-year-olds, and Cub Scouts, which Cub Scouts is kindergarten through 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's always been, since the 70s, an Explorer program that dealt with more of career base and high adventure. And high school girls were involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole change of the program happened in 2019. And then just recently, this past March,
Mm-hmm.
It was announced that the program's name is going to be changed to Scouting of America.
Okay.
So going forward, we'll have the organizational name will be Scouting America, and you'll have the 3 programs will still be involved in that: Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, and the Venturing program, which is the new Explorer program.
Okay.
And Sea Scouts. We also have Sea Scouts in scouting. which deal with boats. So that's the scouting program in general, where it's updated. So back, like you asked, back when I started, girls, the females were your moms in Cub Scouts, and then really there wasn't that many females involved in the older Boy Scouts. It was your dads going camping and running those programs. Now, women and females are throughout the whole program. They're scout masters, they're cub leaders, they're participants. They're in the Order of the Arrow. They're all over. I mean, it is now very diversified, and that is one of the big changes that has happened throughout the years. Is the scouting program has continued to develop and change as society has changed. Scouting in the United States, Scouting of America, is the last international scouting program to bring females in. Girls have been in the other countries, the guides and that, for a very long time. So we were the last country to have girls as part of it.
So what kinds of, a lot of people might not even know what scouting really is. They might think of just going to put up a tent in the woods, thinking in that type of vein, but I know that Scouts has a lot more than just that. What is really at the core of scouting? What do you do?
The camping and the knots and that are the tools that we use to build better citizens. The program back in the 1910s through today was to build characters for young men, now young people, using outdoor skills and teaching them how to survive. I mean, the merit badges. So scouting, starting with Cub Scouts, the little kids, it's very family oriented. So the development there is to get families and the youth connected and doing things together, giving them another avenue to help develop the younger people. And now girls and boys. So they're using techniques of fishing, of camping, but we're also teaching first aid. We're teaching all the skill sets that you think of as a Boy Scout, as a scout, going, being there to help, knowing first aid, knowing how to not get lost, how to find their way in the woods. It all starts in Cub Scouts, and it's age appropriate, and so we keep building upon that. Back in the 30s and the 40s, and when I was in the Cub Scout program, it was totally different. Cub Scouts was a separate program. They had their own law, their own pack motto, and all of that stuff. Nowadays, we teach them the Scout Oath, the Scout laws. They still have their motto of "Do your best," where the Scouts is "Be prepared." But we start at kindergarten, at age appropriate, through the whole program, teaching first aid. We bring knives into it when they're fifth graders, so that they can use a knife properly. We teaching them cooking in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and then cooking throughout scouting, in the camping and the citizenship, and that the idea is that we give back. So not only are we doing the camping and that, you'll see Scouts doing service projects. Service projects is probably one of the bigger, more important things that we do, is always giving back. So we're helping with the American Legion, with the cemetery flags, honoring our veterans. We do, if anybody asks, we're there to help in the community. We do, cleanups. We've done river cleanups through the history. We've done, we've helped with the Elks with their flag ceremonies. it is patriotic also. So, we do look at our patriotism. We have citizenships in the world, nation, society, which is the newest one, which is to help teach diversity. So citizenship, service, giving back to the communities, being available for, you don't see it as much now, but in the beginning, the Boy Scouts were part of, during World War II, World War One, the drives, the steel drives, helping in the country when the men were off to war. They were here to help support the communities, with war gardens and selling the war bonds, scrap drives, rubber drives, all of that stuff. And that still is there. There's programs now nationally where, Scouts can help conservation projects in the national parks and all that stuff if your units are closer to something that way.
So I know also a part of scouting is like you work up your way up the ranks. Like you go from being a Cub Scout into being a Scout, and then eventually you're working your way towards Eagle Scout. That's kind of like the finish line almost, but without.
Yes. So not to, the scouting program is for the youth. The adults are there to be mentors and to really keep, an eye on the safety of the youth. So in Cub Scouts, because they're so young, the Scouters and the families are more involved in making the program and stuff, and they work through lion, tiger, bear, webelow, and arrow of light, which the arrow of light is the pinnacle of your Cub Scout career. It's the only patch that you can wear from your Cub Scout uniform to your Boy Scout uniform, and Scouting uniform. And then in Scouts, you start back up as a Scout rank, which really is just reiterating and embracing the arrow of light rank. Okay, so you don't have to be a Cub Scout to be a Scout. You can join Scouting without ever being in Cub Scouts. Thus the reason why you have the Scout rank. It helps. Okay. It's that starting block, and then you're a tenderfoot, and then a second class, and a first class, and in those ranks, that is where you're learning the basic skill sets. That's where you're learning the camping traditions, the cooking, the basic cooking, the use of a compass, basic first aid, physical fitness, and citizenship. You have to do so many service hours through each of them. And there's, personal safety, understanding bullying, and things like that. And through all that time, you're focusing on that, and you can start working on merit badges, which are focused topics. Okay, and there are 11 required ones that you must have to be an Eagle Scout, and then you must also get 10 electives. Now you can start a merit badge as soon as you join Scouting, but they don't start towards your rank until after first class. So after first class, you have a Star and Life, and then Eagle Scout, and then so you're in those upper ranks. You're earning the merit badges. You're doing more service hours.
Okay.
And then you are fulfilling leadership roles within the units, within the troop. So like I said, the parents and the adult leaders are the program directors and stuff in Cub Scouts. Once you get into Scouting, the Scouts actually lead the units. So we will provide guidance, we'll provide mentorship, mentorship, giving them ideas, what we want to do. But if they want to go camping, then they program the camping. This year they wanted to go to a different camp than we've gone before. And at summer camp, your tradition is to earn merit badges. We'll be having a court of honor next week to present them with all the merit badges they've earned. We took 11 kids over. I believe the boys unit is so far got like 30 merit badges they're getting. And then the girl unit is getting, I think, 26 or 28 merit badges that were completed in that week's time frame. So they decided the program. Last year, we did a program that took the kids from Albion, and we went to the National Jamboree. We didn't go as a contingent. We just went to visit for a day. But while we were down there, we also went whitewater rafting. We went caving. We stayed at Hawking Hills and slept in some teepees. And we did some hiking and that traditional stuff there. So no merit badges were earned last year, but a different experience. So we try to give them that option, those options. They'll decide here in this next month or so what we're doing next year, so we can start the planning. If they want to go to one of the local camporees, the weekend camporees, or we do our own camping, like we're doing at the end of the month, we're going camping to work on, to provide them opportunities to finish their cooking merit badge, their camping merit badge, and a couple other merit badges that they've started but just not have had a chance to finish. So they do all the planning of the menus, the what needs to get picked up for the food, and all that stuff. So that's part of that growing that the Scouts try to build upon them, and they learn it slowly, but they do get it.
Okay. So then within that last, like, earning merit badges and growing up there, you're working towards becoming an Eagle Scout. And to become an Eagle Scout, you have to do a project, right?
So after you've earned life, which there is some time frames. So between tenderfoot, there's like a 30-day period to earn from tenderfoot to second class because of physical fitness. You're tracking your physical fitness for 30 days. And then from second class to first class, it's the same. And then from first class to second class from scout to tenderfoot to second class, and second class to first class, there's a minimum of 30 days in between. And then it is, I believe it's 4 months between that you must be in a leadership, or 6 months leadership position from first class to star, and 6 months between star and life, and 6 months between life and eagle. So you can't just go there. So you got to have those 6 months of leadership responsibilities, of leading the troop in one position or another in the scout troop. So once you've got your 6 months of that, and you can be doing your Eagle Scout project. The big part of the difference between the Eagle Scouts project and the service projects that you're doing through the others is you're creating the project, you're reaching out to the community, you're finding something that can that the community or your charter organization or a church or somebody is going to benefit from it, that is not your own scout unit, that is not you or your family type of thing. And you're going to design the project. You're going to be a project manager. You're going to decide what materials you need, how much, the timing of it. If you need fundraising, fundraising it, and then executing the project itself. We've got one young man that just completed his Eagle Scout, and he built benches at Barnes Park.
Okay.
We have 2 more candidates right now that have started their Eagle Scout projects. They've got them approved. One is updating the bicycle trail here in town and adding some outdoor bike maintenance stations.
Okay.
And then our first female candidate is following my lead a little bit and is purchasing and installing another flagpole at the cemetery, because the number of flagpoles that we have representing our military and our EMTs is 1 pole short with the development of the Space Force. So she, having a military background, family background, wanted to put another flagpole in, and she's going a little bit farther and developing markers so that when you're there visiting the cemetery, you're looking at the flags and you don't know what that flag is. It'll be identified on a marker nice. Towards the base of the flagpole. So you'll know it's the U.S. Marines or the Navy or the EMTs, and it'll have like the dates they were established and some other things. I'm not sure 100% what her plans are on that. But those are the 2 Eagle Scout projects that we have currently going. The rest of our units are all younger, and hopefully through this summer that they'll all be up towards the rank of first class. Okay. So then we'll get new Cub Scouts and new Scouts, and it just keeps growing, and you just do the cycle over again, and then you've got the older kids to lead the younger kids and to teach them the knots and the camping and all that. So the other adult leaders don't have to do all that. We can be there to guide them instead of having to do the teaching, which is ideally what the program is set up for.
Okay. So are there other Eagle Scout projects that the community might be familiar with that might not even know it was part of Scouting?
Okay. So throughout the years, we've had numerous Eagle Scout projects. My personal one, which was over 40 years ago, I put 3 flagpoles in the community. At the time, there were 3 private schools, and none of them had flagpoles to raise the American flag. So I fundraised, purchased flagpoles, and put them in the community. My best friend, he re-landscaped the what is now Washington Gardner outside the front. He re-landscaped that for the community. The first one that I remember working on as a youth for another person that was older than Scout that was older than me, we built bookcases for Maple Grove home apartments. Some of the other ones from some of the other troops. If you're at the cemetery, the stage, that was an Eagle Scout project. The 2 benches that are there, those were Eagle Scout projects in the cemetery. There have been some bird houses along the path. That was an Eagle Scout project for some birds. In the river, there were some woodland duck houses. I'm sure there's more numerous ones that, and as long as Albion Scouting has been around since, our troop is the oldest troop, is the only troop left in the community, 158, and it was started 116 years ago. Wow. And throughout the years, we've had 4 or 5 other troops. There was Troop 172, 160, 119, and all those. And they, as things have changed, you know, the community has changed. We've lost those, and now we're condensed to one unit in town, and then one Cub Scout pack.
So are there any like unique traditions or events that the Albion Scouts do that are unique to this troop or might be unique to this area or anything like that?
Well, we have a river. We've canoed a lot. We're just getting this younger group of kids involved in it. When I was a youth in the program, the first weekend school got out, we always went to the Pine River.
Okay.
And then as adult leadership changed, they kind of got away from that tradition and started visiting other rivers in lieu of going to the Pine River every year. And then as time has changed, we've no longer do that as much unless the kids want to go out and do that. Probably another tradition is the use of not always going to summer camp every year, trying to have what we call a high adventure, where the Scouts have come up with a program. Like last year we went to West Virginia. The troop has gone to the Porcupine Mountains, up in the UP on adventures. They've gone to New Hampshire, the White Mountains, for an adventure. We've done long-term canoeing. So we do some different things in that aspect locally. We also spend a lot of time out at what we graciously call Camp Farley. Mr. Farley has a farm south of town, as everybody knows, and we have camped there since I was 11 years old, 12 years old. Me and his oldest son started camping there on our own, made our own little campsite out there so we could just go camping whenever we wanted to. And as Mr. Farley got more involved in taking on different leadership roles, and being more involved with the troop as Scoutmaster, and that the land has kind of developed into our own little campground. And the troop goes out there to do winter camping, or the end of the month we're going out there for 3 or 4 days to work on merit badges and rank requirements. So it's nice that we have a spot that is close and developed, and we can just go out camping. So that's probably one of our newer, longer traditions is camping on Mr. Farley's property.
So what's one of your like favorite scouting activities or adventures that you personally have gone on?
Philmont.
So what was that?
Philmont is a national high adventure camp.
Okay.
I went when I was 15. That was back in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s. We went as units, troops. We would have enough youth locally or getting some kids from Homer to go with us that we could form a crew of 6 or 7 kids and have 2 or 3 crews go out. Nowadays, it's a council event, so the council organizes them and goes out, and it costs more than what we used to do things at. But Philmont is a national event, a national high adventure camp. So you hike 50 miles in 10 days, week to 10 days. So we went out when I was 15. I actually turned 15 on top of the highest peak of the, well, I didn't turn it up there, but we were up. we celebrated, Dad and I celebrated my 15th birthday on top of Mount Baldy.
Okay.
And your grandfather brought me a Swiss Army pocket knife. Yeah, and there was extra weight. And you would think, so he carried that the whole time, because this was towards the end of it. And you did not carry anything extra that you didn't want to carry, because you're walking, 10 to 15 miles a day to do 50 miles. So that was Probably the biggest one. I have been lucky that I've been to Philmont as a youth. I went to the National Jamboree as a youth, and I was a contingent member. And then I've gone back to 3 more national jamborees as visitors. I took your grandfather and his twin brother to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Scouting at the National Jamboree. And I took your grandfather to a World Jamboree down in West Virginia. I did not get to do a world. I've never done a World Jamboree as a contingent member, as a youth or an adult, just as a visitor. And then I've been a member of the Order of the Arrow since I was 12, 11. The Order of the Arrow is the honor society for honored camper society.
Okay.
For the Boy Scouts of America, or for Scouting America, and the program, you must have to be considered by your peers, and you're elected into it. You can't just join. Your fellow scouts say that yes, you're someone who is respected in camp, but you have to have at least 15 days of camping before you can be considered, and you have to be a first class. So back when I was 10, 11 years old, I was elected, and that program has changed and developed through the ages. It had a very strong emphasis on Native American, and it still does to a point, but you must work with the local indigenous people and have their approval to still wear regalia, and that if not, there was some more modern regalia that they wear for our ceremonies and stuff. And it's become, obviously, through these days and ages, there's no secret organizations. Back in the 80s and in that time, it was, you didn't talk about it. You just knew you were in it, with the patch that you had on your uniform. But what you did there wasn't shared until you were a member. And it's the slogan, the motto, Wamakandink Winnelasik Witahimaway, stands for Brotherhood of Cheerful Service. So beyond what we do as a traditional scout, the Order of the Arrow is even a stronger service organization.
Okay.
And does things nationally, locally. So as a member of the Order of the Arrow, I've gone to several national conferences as a youth and as an adult. And then I've never served on the service corps or anything like that, which they are the, you can serve on service corps at the jamborees, the national jamborees or the world jamborees, or at the national scout camps, where you actually go and work for free, volunteer, and do the service projects that need to be done.
Okay. So clearly you're really passionate about Scouts, but you don't have any children of your own that are in Scouts or have gone through Scouts. So why do you continue to be such an impact in the local Scouts? Why do you think that it's important for our community to have this program?
Well, from what I learned as a Scout and what is expected of any citizen, is that we give back to our community. Now, I have been a member of the Scout troop since I was 10 years old. Even when I was an adult, I had some minor roles. While you girls were growing up, I was available to do border reviews and do some of that. I wasn't going camping. I wasn't attending the weekly meetings or anything like that. I was giving back to the community in other aspects. AYSO, the swim programs, Albion Aqua Cats, the high school swim teams, the other things that you girls were involved in. So I was still giving back to the community. So I think that's probably the biggest the biggest thing that you learn in scouting is service. And I think you girls got that part yourselves just because you see how your mom and I give back to the community. And that's the big part. So it's another avenue, because not every youth wants to play sports or it's in 4-H. It just gives the community another avenue to develop our young people into good citizens. And that's what the focus is to develop our youth to take over for us.
So then, thinking a little bit more broadly about Albion, as we wrap up here, what is your hope for the future of Albion?
For the whole community, or are you talking about Albion Scouting? Albion
Both. You can talk about both.
Albion Scouting. When I did get back heavily involved with it, because you girls were done with high school, and I had some free time. I started the Cub Scout program because there was no program for the younger kids left in the community. And now we've got a program of 30 kids at the moment. So that just continues to develop. My goal for Albion Scouting is that, the legacy continues. We've done this for 106, 108 years, 100, us locally, that, in 200 years, it can continue to say there's still a scouting program, as long as there's still a scouting program. That we have that avenue. Because we have been lucky to be in that building that we've been in for this whole time, and there's a lot of history there. And so I want that to continue, even when it's time for me to move on, and for the other adult leaders to move on, because it is strange, it is unique, that you've got several of us adult leaders that don't have youth in the program. That we haven't, we've taken on other roles in the district and the council, but still maintain a strong hold here, instead of, letting someone else step up. I'm sure if anybody wanted to step up, we would gladly, mentor them and let them continue the program. But ideally, we don't want the program to not exist for those kids that need this program as another to develop citizenship. For the community, I just hope that we can continue to, build on what we've been doing, since, the focus of redevelopment downtown with the Bohm Theater, the addition of the hotel. I remember going to the Bohm Theater as a kid, and it was nasty. Your feet stuck to the ground. You couldn't sit in the chairs. I mean, it's great to see things coming back. We're getting businesses downtown. I hope we can continue to get businesses downtown. I hope that we can continue to utilize our natural resources, the river, the biking trails, and since I am a scout, I like the outdoors. I like to see those things, those focuses, and getting that developed. It'd be nice if the trailhead will have opportunities for through hikers to be able to put a camp if they need to, and just develop it. Hopefully the river will be reclaimed and we can utilize it and have more opportunities for kayaking, put-ins, and canoeing, and enjoy those sports, and more riverbanks to do more fishing and that. So just continue to move along with the times and grow and fill our stores and be welcoming and be be a community that we once were and still are. But
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking all about Scouts.
you're welcome.
That's it for this episode of Brick by Brick. We'll be back with more stories from the heart of Albion. Until then, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep building Albion's future.